Welcome back, game developers, to the Game Development Livestream. Today, we are live from San Francisco, looking right out on the beautiful bay here. We are in Wolves Den. You guys got to see this place. So if you missed it this year, check it out next year. There are people playing games basically round the clock, giving game demos. It's all Web3, but we are the rule breakers. We're not going to be talking Web3 from Wolves Den, but they were kind enough to allow the venue, which is this beautiful place. I am John Radoff. I'm the CEO of Beamable and one of the co-hosts of this. I'm joined by Paul. Paul, introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Paul, game designer, work for King, been making games for a quarter century.
And we've got our intrepid producer, Oscar. Oscar, thanks for keeping this train on the tracks. We are discovering new ways to do this all the time. We haven't done a lot of live programs yet from on-site is what I mean. They're always live, but they're on-site now. So we're learning to do things like cameras on tripods and lighting and these little mics so that we sound reasonably good. I don't know. We might professionalize this thing soon. It's kind of scary. So welcome everybody who's joining us this morning, because we're joined by our special guest, David. You want to introduce yourself, David?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm David. I'm the CEO of Squido, and we make XR games for the Meta Quest for now. Yeah.
Awesome. And we're going to spend a lot more on that. We want to talk about VR, XR, Oculus, Quest, I guess is what we call it these days, right? I'm a little bit behind the times. But VR, super interesting market. Starting to get a little bigger than I think we originally expected it to be. But this is for game developers. So, we're going to talk about games, but we're going to talk about them from a game developer's perspective. Most of the folks who tune in here are from the industry. They're designers, developers, studio heads, CTOs, people who are in the craft of building games. That said, this is a totally open platform. If you want to look behind the curtain, figure out how the magic happens, or the sausage making, which is more of what it actually is most of the time in games, you can do that. It's fun to learn about what we do here in this crazy, wacky industry. And maybe you'll learn something that'll guide your choices about games, or maybe you want to be a game developer someday. So, David, let's start with the VR market, kind of high level. So what do you feel people should know about the VR market now?
Very good question. So, when the VR started a few years ago, 2016 was like HTC Vive. I had my room set up with my cameras, and it required like big computers. Nowadays, it's all standalone, like Quest 3, Quest 3OS, dominating the market with Meta. But the thing is that back in the days, and even today, a lot of VR developers are still working on, I would say, double A games. They consider the Quest like a PlayStation, like a game console. But I think it's a bad vision of the market, and that's why we're seeing a lot of headlines of studios shutting down in VR. It's because they're working on the bad game. They don't understand the market, and it's fine that they're shutting down. Honestly, maybe it's sad, but I just think that the market evolved, and we are discovering that the true user of VRs are kids. It's a social in nature. If you look at the top, the most popular VR games, it's all social games, mostly for kids, and it's free to play.
So just to double click on that for a moment, like when I talk to a lot of people about VR, the feedback they'll usually say is, yeah, I tried it and it was cool for a few hours, and then I put it down, and then they assume that that's all of the people, everyone's experience in VR, right? But you're saying not true of kids. Define kids, by the way. What
kids, I would say 10, even younger than 10, but let's say 10 to 16. This is the core demographic of VR, and I think Zuckerberg knows it. That's why he's investing billions into it. They play VR until their headset die, and then they charge it back and go play again. So just for a game, we have a 1 hour of average play session time. Every time a player plays, it plays for an hour. So it's a long time in VR. But most adults, we buy a headset, we think, oh, it's cool. It's like a PlayStation. I'll put that. I'll go play Batman or whatever shooter. And then after a while, I just shelve my headset because when I want to play, after a long day of work, I just want to sit on my couch and play with the controller. I don't want to be an headset isolated. It's still not as comfortable as we want it to be. But the kids, they don't care. Instead of going to in an actual playground, play outside with their friends, they just go in VR, see their friends. For them, it's a place. It's not a game. It's not about games. It's about it's a location, like a virtual location. It's really the metaverse, the vision of the metaverse. For kids, they don't use the term, but it's the metaverse. They go there and hang out with their friends.
All right, we're going to talk a little bit more about the metaverse. I mean, this blog called Building the Metaverse. So we got to go there somehow. It's become a much less sexy word the last few years, but I don't mind taking on kind of relatively unsexy language. So I'm very comfortable with myself in that way.
Yeah, me too.
Comfort level. I can't help but notice that you're wearing the Facebook stories.
Yeah, I'll take a picture.
The Ray-Bans, yeah. So I actually have those too. In fact, my avatar is pictured wearing the stories is how that avatar came about. So love the product. Don't use them all the time. What are you using yours for?
Honestly, it replaces my earbuds. I love them. Like
the bone conduction audio is really good.
Yeah, the sound is amazing.
Yeah.
And the fact I can listen to music, like right now, I'm listening to a podcast and you don't even know. So it's amazing. Honestly, I love them. It just replaced the earbuds. I use it also for random pictures all the time. I'm not speaking to an AI yet. Like I feel the AI is not like responsive enough. It needs a couple of upgrades, but I really think this is the future. Like the merging of this and VR into something like Orion that's coming in 2027. You know, when they announced it at Connect.
Well, speak to everybody about it though. Like.
Yeah, I don't know if you like Zuckerberg during the last Connect event in September, they announced the Orion glasses. It's like it's really more thick than the one I wear right now, but it's like it has a screen integrated in the glass, so you can do end tracking, you can have apps, and so I really think it's the future. Like just right now, it's a prototype. They said it costs $10,000 to produce, so they want to bring the price down to like 1,500, 2027 for everyone to buy.
Apple got so much flack on just I don't know, a couple, $2,000 or $3,000, let alone something of that price.
So that's why they don't even offer dev kit now, because it's not ready. But they build one. They showed it a live demo of it, and it's truly amazing. So it's called Orion Glass. If you want to look at it online, it's.
And do you think that's getting more to the form factor that the mass market will actually need? For
like
XR?
Just these ones, like the Ray-Ban really sell really well. I think they sold like nearly 2 million units last year, and they're ramping up for like 10 million a year. And I think just as a replacement for earbuds, it's so comfortable. Like just go running outside or anything. Like having nothing in your ears is awesome.
So what's different about kids that pick up any of these VR products today and are sticking with it and engaging about it? Is it just the fact that they are growing up with it, or is there something different about just being younger when you use it? Like what's going on here?
I honestly think that it's being not where your parents are. You know, so when I was young.
That's an actual photo of my kid. That's an actual photo of my kid not being where his parents are.
Exactly. You don't see your parents. I mean, they hear you scream because they scream a lot, like playing these games. But like I think it's a social element. I'm there with my friends. It's a location. It's like exactly like if I go to the park, but I can do way more. And you're alone. You're in your own environment. It's like your super basement, if you want. Like. So that's why they love it, and I think then it's just a social factor. Like your friends are there, come join us, so you hang out with them there.
Do
you think that's helped by the fact that their expectations of the game forms have changed? Like an older person like me, when I slap on those things, I'm looking for I'm thinking more like simulation, right? And so I'm looking for this sort of hyper realism. I'm looking for the wow. I'm almost working against like the strengths of the platform, right? Because I'm voluntarily putting myself in roller coaster situations and then complaining that the VR is making me sick, right? things like that. And the kid he's grown up on Roblox and Minecraft and social gameplay forms. And he's playing fundamental. He's not just in VR and loving it the way you're saying. He's literally playing different kinds of games, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, totally. Like the most popular VR game of all time is still Gorilla Tag, and I mean it looks like shit. Like it's like PS1 graphics. There's like nothing to do. Honestly, there's nothing to do. Like you can just move around and play tag if you want. Like tag game plays in the background, and they just goof around. They just hang out there it's literally a park with trees and like sliders. So you hang out there with your friends. You play tag, but you also invent games. You just do skits. And it looks so bad. The graphics are ugly, but the controls are tight. So you have like physical movement. You can jump around, juke other players.
Something I've been thinking about more and more as of late when I'm watching my nephews play Roblox and stuff is that they're not as concerned about the progression of graphical fidelity from the 8-bit, like the way that we're all like, yeah, I need to have like more triangles and stuff. It has to be 4K. Like they don't mind a PS1 experience because they were doing that on their cell phones. So fidelity is not really an issue when it comes to an immersive experience. I think as much as it's for like the adult mind. Again, the kids are more malleable.
And I also think, the brain rot phenomenon, the skibidi toilet kind of video made on the Half-Life. No, but like a lot of the content they consume is so weird. Like I don't even get it. Like, but it's so weird, so ugly. It's like a screenshot of a GIF, like reposted 20 times. Is like 3 pixels animation, and they love it.
Michael Bay gets it. Michael Bay gets it.
Yeah.
No, but like if your game is too polished in VR, it doesn't work with kids. It doesn't resonate with them. They don't recognize that what they're looking for. So it needs to look like shit. But it's a style, so it can look good in like when you get it. It looks good. Like it feels familiar.
Oh man,
David, I feel like the comments on Gorilla Tag is a good introduction to what your company is building. Why don't you share a little bit of that, and then we can kind of drill down.
Yeah, sure. So when like our first game was called No More Rainbows, it was we thought we were making a game for ourselves. It was Mario in VR, but you play as Bowser. It was a premium game, 1999. So it had some success. It had the same locomotion as Gorilla Tag. We invented the locomotion, by the way, before Gorilla Tag, but I was stuck in my adult mindset that, oh yeah, we need a premium game, not a social experience. So we shipped after Gorilla Tag, and I was like, oh god, I should have just done like a stupid like social tag game with way less gameplay, and I would have made 100 million a year, like G-Tag. But anyway, so we learned our lesson, and we look at how the market evolved. We understood the kids were looking for informal gameplay and social aspect. So this is why we decided to work on DigiGods. So DigiGods is like Gorilla Tag. You have a locomotion with your arms. You can also move with your joystick. It's a social playground, but we added UGC into it. So we have a big library of objects. We have weekly updates with like tons of new guns, dragons, bridges, whatever. And you can build maps as you play with your friends. So there's no interruption between building and playing. So I just hang out, and then we say, oh, let's add a dragon. And we add a dragon in the map, and now we can ride a dragon, shoot on it with a shotgun. So it's like perfect, ultimate playground for the target audience, like 10 to 16. Yeah,
sounds like the metaverse to me. We don't need a new product called the metaverse like that. Yeah, kind of fits one of the definitions I like. How do you?
Oh yeah, totally.
With that?
This is the metaverse. I mean, you would need to be able to jump in other spaces. Like at some point, we need connections. But Meta is working hard on that. They already have like portals you can put in your game, and when you jump on it, you are instantly teleported to another game. And it feels seamless, by the way. So I think they're working on the right ecosystem. But yeah, it's true. DigiGods in itself is a metaverse. We can say that.
Yeah, and feel free to brag for a little bit. Like, how was the game doing?
It's going very well. Like we launched the game in December 7. Now we are very close to 200,000 monthly active users, and we're growing like 15% every month without any marketing. So it's going very well.
And those stats on if you built a mobile game with that and you were a studio of your size, you'd be like beside yourself with joy. Like that's really big
I am.
For a mobile game.
You don't see my size. Super excited, yeah.
But on VR, that sounds like a pretty big product.
It's pretty big. Like in comparison, Gorilla Tag, the biggest game, has 3 million MAU a month. So we have still work to do and space to grow. And I think the entire like VR market right now is like 10 to 15 million MAU. This is the numbers we got, so we can still grow there.
Remind me how many units shipped of the Quest, and is that most of the market today?
Yeah, it's most of the market. It's about 10 million unit per year.
So in aggregate, we're talking 30 or 40 million units out there.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah.
The issue I would say is that half of that is adult that want to try the new gadget and then they shelve it, or they give it to their kids. So hopefully their kids are fine.
Why would you want to build?
There you go. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for the trailer. Yeah, exactly. So this is the game. You can do anything. Like you can drop carts, you can do racing, you can fight. So we call it DigiGods Build and Battle. So everything you see here is UGC. So you drop assets, library. You can also work in MR to build your maps. And as you can see, you can build a map while like other players are jumping in carts. It's all physics based too. We went way far in R&D to make the only physics-based multiplayer in VR. So everything, like, you can push it physics. You can grab another player, punch it like while you fall over a plane. It's a crazy gameplay, honestly. It's really fun. If you have a chance, go play with a friend. Even as an adult, you will laugh on the floor. I guarantee you will be laughing so hard. It's really fun.
So, thinking again back to, like, this is a game developer audience here. Right now, just in the industry generally, this isn't a comment on any category. It's not a VR or a Web3 or a mobile gaming or a PC gaming comment, but a lot of studios are struggling. And a lot of people, because of the struggle, are thinking, oh, geez, maybe I should just try something new and just, boot up a new game. Is VR the thing that's new that some people should give a try to? Or what are your thoughts on that as a target product?
I think VR is a great opportunity that people like pass, or maybe they see incorrectly the market. Like, if, like, for example, on Steam, there's only 1% of games that make over $1 million in revenues.
Mm-hmm.
So your chance of succeeding, even if you're passionate, you spend 3 years of your life making the next roguelike, whatever,
mm-hmm.
the chance of success are pretty low. In VR, it's 10%. 10% of games are making more than a million, and there's not a lot of competition. Like, if you go on the MetaQuest store and you look at the games, a bunch of games are made by like 13-year-old kid. They just like copy pasted like code from Gorilla Tag, and they just change the graphics and they ship that. And some of them they blow to like 500,000 monthly active users.
Sounds like Roblox.
No, exactly.
Roblox game, right?
So my recommendation is, like, if you want to try, like, just ship a game, like make a game in 3 months, ship it on VR. I think it's a great opportunity. You have a chance.
Headline: VR, the home for vibe coding.
Yeah, no, totally. Plus, Meta is funding initiative, so you can go to Oculus Publishing. They're pretty generous. They fund the platform, and they just launched also Horizon World. Maybe we could talk about that too. But
what do you think of Horizon? I mean, that's.
Well, 1 second before let me bring up a comment I've got here, just from Lucas Wilson. It's like, hey, John and Paul and David, is there a preferred platform to watch?
We're talking about the game developers live stream. I guess this is a good opportunity for station identification. You are watching the game developer live stream, or the game development live stream. Maybe I should learn the name of my own show. We are broadcasting on Facebook, on X, on Twitch, on YouTube. Did I get them all? I feel like I missed one. There's
LinkedIn
no platform to watch. I think any of those work fine. I will say Facebook deletes the video after 30 days, whereas some of these other platforms like YouTube will persist it.
I took the comment to mean, like, is there a preferred platform when it comes to VR, AR? I could be wrong, but that's the way I read it.
Lucas will have to clarify his question, but it was a good question anyway, because I wanted to say that this program, the reason we do this live instead of just making it a recorded YouTube video that we could have done and then just posted it later for rewatch. This is a live program because we love to make it dynamic, and we like to include you, the audience. So we've got a whole bunch of game developers out there. Looks like we got a really great sized audience already. The audience has been growing tremendously the last few weeks. My X following is up to like 300,000 or so now, which is
we're over 300 right now.
Yeah, it's unfucking believable. I am beside myself with joy about how many people are interested in what I'm talking about online and the number of people that are following me. But yeah, we're getting a lot of audience here with a lot of developers, investors in the industry. So the point being, post your comments here so that you are part of this live conversation, so that it's not me and Paul having to think of all the questions. In fact, I think we'd like to fade into the background more and just like let you guys drive it, because then we can be a little lazier and jump in when we are super curious about something. But that's fine. We can drive it, but we would love you to post comments. Beyond that, you can even join this program live. So it's on StreamYard. We broadcast all these platforms. If you want to join live, Oscar will get you the StreamYard link. Just post a little comment to any of these platforms that we're on, and that'll let us know what you want to talk about. we like to keep it relatively pertinent to today's conversation, which is XR, VR, stuff like that, because it'll take advantage of the group that we've got going here. But hey, anything super timely for the industry this week. We're at GDC here. We're literally live from GDC overlooking the bay here. So, feel free to jump in the channel and talk about anything. But this program is for you to participate live, and Oscar will continue to serve up those comments and questions you've got. So let's run with the platform question anyway, as if it is what Oscar thought it meant, which is specific platforms around delivery.
Could I put a little bit of a mustard on that and say, let's say that I'm dipping into VR for like the 5th time, right? Because as somebody, as a game designer, I'm really excited about VR and always have been, right? And I stick my head up every now and then and buy some hardware, and I hear people like David talk, and I get really excited and I want to make a game. What I want to know is, here in 2025, somebody's listening to this stream and going, yeah, it's about time to check out VR again. I want David the expert to tell me how I invest and get on board and make a game. What hardware do I buy? What tech stack do I go after? Like, how do I get started, man? I'm excited.
So, I mean, to develop on VR, like, still Meta has all the market, all the users, all the space. So, like, of course, like, buy the Meta Quest 3 or 3S. Like, 3S is $300. Like, it's the best device possible you can buy for that money. And like, you can just start developing on Unity like in a day. Like, it's so simple to make your bill connected to your headset. You just click play in Unity, it works. You can build your APK. You don't need a specific tech stack. And Meta did a really good job providing all the SDKs and everything you need. Like, it's so simple. Like, 12 years old kid can ship a game in a day. So I guess like any competent dev can do it as well. Just try it. No, seriously.
Any competent adult in, I don't know, 3 months or something.
That is something I can talk to, because like, I think the competent is what gets in our way when we talk about new platforms. As we've been talking about, like, it's the 13-year-old kid that doesn't know what right is, that doesn't let that get in his head, and he put stuff out there and people play it and love it, right?
By the way, we have a game. Like, there's a 13-year-old kid. He's one of my friends. Like, we play VR all the time. Like, play as DigiGods, and it's been 2 years. I am playing with him, and I encourage him, like, learning Unity, and he shipped a game. He shipped a game called Momentum, and to encourage him, we added a portal in DigiGods. When you jump into it, you go into his game, Momentum. It's an horror game. And he did it all by himself. We just added help him with the dev at the end, just add like lobbies, management, and stuff like that. But the game is awesome, and he already has like 20,000 players on it, and it's really scary. If you want to be scared in VR,
it's starting to get me excited here. I'm gonna. So it's funny though, like. I knew the Apple Vision Pro was really a dev kit packaged as a mass market product for some reason. I wish they had just been honest and said, this is a dev kit for people who want to start learning how to build an app for our future VR platform. I do love the product and the experience that I had in the first few weeks of it. I was in the first batch of shipments of this product, but that thing's been in the box for me. I'm gonna say about 6 months. I have not even turned it on, so that's kind of embarrassing, I guess, is one word, or disappointing is another word. I have my own thoughts on areas where they dropped the ball. Other than I don't actually think price was the issue from my standpoint. That's my thought. But what do you think?
But I think price.
You think price was the issue?
Yeah. I mean, price is the issue. The second thing is that is comfort. Like working, like, this is a working device. Like, there's no controller. It's hard to play any games. So they were really about attacking productivity. And like, if you cannot wear this thing like for 6 hours and have your multiple monitors and really work for real, like it won't work. Like, why would you use that? So it was a dev kit. The app did not follow. So honestly, I'm more excited about this type of format, like for adults and productivity, the Orion glasses, and also Android XR that's coming, with Samsung and Google. And I feel the medium is getting quite close for productivity. And this is I'm really excited about, because we are all remote developers. We're 27 employees, and I just want all of us to be working in VR all the time and be able to teleport to like beside each other, show the screen. You know what we were promised that we don't have yet, neither from Meta, neither from Apple, but like we need that. Like I think we all want that, and just a matter of form factor to me.
My personal experience as a user of it was I loved watching movies, and I'd jump on an airplane and watch a movie, and that was a great experience. And then I got excited about this being the replacement for the screen, basically. And okay, I'm getting rid of all the monitors in my house. I'm just going to do VR all the time, and it'll be a projected screen wherever I need it to be, and I'll just work there, and I'll have all these screens. And I guess that I'd never actually ended up using it in that way, probably partly because of the comfort. But a lot of why I dropped the engagement on it is they were surprisingly slow to actually put content on the device to keep me engaged. Like, I think the last time I turned it on, they still said and this seems like very basic to me, but like the settings, there's this really cool thing where you can place yourself in like on the moon or in these really beautiful, really cool. But then there were a few others that it shipped with where it was like coming soon. And I think months and months after I used it, it was still coming soon. I'm wondering if I turned it on now, would it still say, I don't know, because I haven't turned it on in 6 months. But like, why didn't they think that like driving engagement and like content, just give me daily things to do, or more? The immersive 3D films they had were actually quite good too. I wanted more of those.
Super relatable. I exhausted every time I take a pass at it, I do exactly the same thing, John. I exhaust all the content. Go to a couple of cool immersive rock concerts, watch a bunch of stuff, and then where's the next thing, and I'm done. And mostly because I'm a game consumer, I'm really actually saying when's the next game coming, more than anything else. And the great games are still few and far between. But I think what David's saying is true. It's probably because I'm old and don't play the different aesthetic. That's the problem, is that there's a real difference between the people that make the game and the people that are consuming the games. And I don't know.
On that note, I would also add that it's a different platform. No, let's not forget it's a different platform. Like, would you play like Last of Us on your cell phone? No,
I would.
You want to play on your 4K TV on your couch with your PS5 controller. So like, what do I play on my phone? I play like Balatro or like small games that. So on
Candy
Steam,
Crush.
I play my roguelikes. On my PlayStation, I play Last of Us, and on my phone I play Balatro. But what do I play on VR? So VR is a different medium. Why would I expect to play the same kind of games than on the platform I just named? So VR is the key is social playground, and I think that's the medium what it's for. So that's why my point is that let's not chase replicating PS5 games on the Quest. It makes no sense. Let's go for social. It's a social platform, and even for productivity, I think it's going to be social productivity. This is where.
But the things that the tricky problem is these things are so expensive. This is a classic sort of consumer good where the person who's buying the thing isn't the person who's using it. Like you, I think, really keenly pointed out. Like, we're buying these $3,000 toys and giving them to our kids more than the kids are buying them, right? And what sold that Vive that I gave to my kid was me, somebody strapping one to my face and saying, "Here, play this, play the Valve, whatever, the Valve Office demo," right? And oh my God, that blew me away. I don't care how much it costs. Here's a blank check, right? But then after you've exhausted all the content, the kid is having some other experience, right? And so maybe I'm just not the customer anymore, right? And how do we get more headsets in the hands of these awesome kids? It sounds like you're making the right software for them, but
I mean, the strategy, Meta has the right strategy. Like the $300 Quest 3S is the perfect gift for a kid. Like the kids want that for Christmas or for birthday. You buy that. It's like cheaper than a Switch, and then they're going out with their friends. So that's a perfect format for them. And then there's the glasses, like the glasses in the Orion and the Android XR. This is coming for us, for adults, for productivity. But again, it's not for gaming. I don't think we will have our Last of Us in VR. I don't think it will happen, and I don't think it matters.
First-person shooters are not the I think originally people thought, oh, first-person shooters, obvious killer app for VR, but it's quite the opposite, right?
If you look, I mean, I gave it. I have it in my phone here, but if you look at the top 20 most popular VR games, it's only social stuff. It's Gorilla Tags, it's Animal Company, it's VR Chat, it's Rec Room, it's Roblox. Like, look at the list. It's all social games, all of it. Like, I think there's a first-person shooter here, Veil, position 20. So all of that social games.
If I learned anything here today, it's that I've been wanting the wrong games, and I've cared about. And I've been chasing VR since the '90s. Like I was in the first round of VR, and other than a few training games that I worked on, I don't think I've ever worked on a successful VR game.
You up the picture of Paul with the Power Glove again?
Yeah. I go back to hacked Power Glove and Silicon Graphics Workstation type VR, and I think you're right. Like, no, I'm buying what you're selling, David. Like we just completely missed the boat on the kind of games that are going to be successful on this platform.
Look at, we think we want these games, but when we have them, like when we have Half-Life Alyx, yes, it's cool, but like, do you really want, like, after a full day of work, and like if you have kids and stuff, like we're adults, we're tired at the end of the day.
Move your body around all over the place.
To stand up with this on your face and move around for like 2 hours? Really? Every day? No. But the truth is no. You think you want that, but then you don't want. And then if you
burn a lot of calories doing VR.
Of course. Right? Kids Gorilla Tag, you move all the time.
Let's not knock Beat Saber too much. It might not be on that top 20 list you had, but Beat Saber was a pretty great.
It is. Top three. Fitness game is a great fit for VR. Yeah. Like adults, they play fitness games. So that's why Meta bought Within for Supernatural for $400 million. So it's like Beat Saber fitness.
Yep.
So I do it. My wife does it. It's the only true use case of VR we have, because if I'm for standing up, being uncomfortable, better like punch stuff and sweat. So this is a great use case, fitness.
We've got a couple of comments here. Sorry, from Lucas Wilson. Let's see. First off, let's take a look. We're in a weird time in the hardware world, waiting for the eyeglass form factor to happen, which I think we're all kind of there. The killer app for the Vision Pro is the monitor. Other than that, agreed. It's a dev kit.
But they didn't admit that it was a dev kit. And that's the problem with positioning it as this really amazing content experience, which is sort of how they marketed it. It's going to be great for movies and immersive theater kind of stuff. That's really how they pitched it in their ads. They didn't say, this is a dev kit, let's work with you to make some great content. Because also the other part, frankly, this comes back to the developer side. I don't think they supported developers that great. They seemed very, dare I say, Apple-ish in their approach, which is sort of like, hey, we built the most amazing thing ever. So of course, every developer in the world will now automatically invest all their resources in building for this platform. And they did not really, for whatever reason, Apple gets a lot of credit. Apple does a lot of stuff really, really well, including the hardware is pretty cool and it does really cool stuff. So like a lot of things were right here and a lot of things are right about Apple, but boy, did they really not understand that they're selling a developer platform, and what that meant is really going all in with developers. Like they should have been rounding up developers and been like, let's build some amazing products on here. And then in 1 or 2 years, we're going to have a showcase of amazing things that only this platform can do. And I couldn't understand why they had that attitude with a relatively low unit sales tech, where you're not going to make your money by shipping the product and then hoping people buy it, right?
I think you're right, John, but when has Apple ever been developer first? Like, they always put the product and then make you chase it to get onto it. That happened with the iPhone. It happened with the Macintosh itself. Like, it always feel like, they build the best product that makes us salivate, and then we jump, the developers, jump through the hurdles to get where the people are, not the other way around, right? Oh, it's like this.
I'd argue, hey, Lucas, you joining us live. Excellent. This, by the way, is what we love in this program. So any of you can do that in the audience. Oscar, how many people we got watching live right now?
Currently 400 plus.
All right, we're doing great. We got so many people here. Welcome to the program. Your time is super valuable, and really grateful that you decided to spend your time with us. It's our morning here on the West Coast. So thank you wherever you are in the world that you tuned in. The reason we do this in a live format is you can do exactly what Lucas just did, which is you can join and be part of the program and ask questions. So, hey, Lucas, you're here. So now we're going to put you on the spot, though. What
Come on down.
What did you have in mind when you jumped into the program? And Lucas, introduce yourself.
Well,
I know who you are, but you got 400 people who need to learn.
first of all, hi, John, Paul, and Oscar, and David. Can I to ask the obvious question that everybody asks? Can you hear me?
Yes.
No matter how much great technology we all have and all the cool stuff we do, the first 5 minutes of any conversation is still, can you hear me? Can you see me? Anyway. David, nice to meet you. I know these guys. For the past 10 years or so, I've been almost full time in the VR world. Run a company called SuperSphere and done building a lot of live streaming and building a lot of experiences for Meta, and the music labels and esports companies, a bunch of people. So I have a vested interest in the industry. I was looking around for my Ray-Bans. I can only find one of them. I have a bunch of, I'm like anybody else in the VR industry. I have one of everything, right? And then a new one comes out and it's like, oh, look, okay, I'll use that one now. I don't want to take up too much time because you guys, David, you're spending your time being a guest. The thing that I'm seeing a lot of right now, and the people I talk to and in my clients, is two things. Number one is that, David, you absolutely nailed it, that social experiences are the winner in the VR world. Number two is that, Meta is the 800-pound, 1,600-pound gorilla in everything. If Meta dropped out of the VR world tomorrow, there would be no VR world. Right. Which is it's cool that they're putting that much time and effort and interest in it, but for that world to really take off, it has to be more than a monopoly. I think we're also in a weird place that I think we're probably one or two spins away from Qualcomm having a low enough power consumption device that you can fit everything that you need to fit in one of these, in the stems of one of these.
Lucas, just for the benefit of our audience who may have varying levels of hardware expertise, talk about the relation of Qualcomm to
sure,
Quest
sorry.
devices and where they play in it.
The only reason that VR headsets exist, the only reason you have to have a headset is because, the presentation monitor is a lens about this size. The only reason you have to have a VR headset around it is because the compute power, the chips, and what is necessary to generate that experience on these lenses is big enough and takes up enough power that it has to be in this big form factor that you strap to your head. What Meta showed with Orion, what David's wearing with the Ray-Bans, are sort of the next generation of device where you're going to see miniaturized chips that are small enough to fit into a bigger glasses stem than this, but are going to fit into a glasses stem that are then going to be able to power the experience that's in your eyes. You can see that right now, in that a year or two ago, there was really only one set of AR glasses out there. Now they're like 8 or 9. And they're all pretty well funded, and they're all kind of the same right now. They're all doing some form of strapping a little miniature display device to the inside of your glasses and showing essentially a VT100 terminal inside your glasses, which is kind of fun for us, right? It's like,
I want to know what percentage of our audience knows what a VT100
green text on a monitor, yay! But those Qualcomm is the company that has a virtual worldwide monopoly on the chipsets that are small enough to actually do that kind of stuff. And they're about one or two spins away from a chipset that's small enough and has a small enough power consumption that it can fit into the traditional places in eyeglasses that you can put stuff. And once that happens, then you will be able to have a VR style experience on just wearing eyeglasses. And when that happens, I believe I think that'll be an iPhone moment. That'll be a complete shift in how people consume and in how people deal with experiences. And it's also going to be, the Meta Ray-Bans are the first real wearable device, really useful wearable device that you can put on and that doesn't make people want to punch you in public.
Let's ask our two VR experts here. Thanks for joining, Lucas. What's the over/under on timeline for like eyeglasses VR as a mass market consumer device, not a $10,000 piece of demoware?
But I mean, first of all, I agree with everything Lucas just said. I would say like Orion, they said 2027. So I'd say 3-4 years. I think 3-4 years we have the iPhone moment.
Interesting. What do you
Agreed.
use that?
That sounds about right.
So we're looking at, by the end of the decade,
Yeah.
this is a mass market experience in a very comfortable form factor. Yeah. Where does the other part of this is the battery, right? Where's the battery part of this going to play into it? Are batteries going to get small enough soon? Are we going to have solid state batteries and everything? Who's tracking that part of the technology?
Meta already said that the next version of the Ray-Ban glasses will have 8 hours of batteries, because this one has 2 hours.
That's not enough. You need sort of the length of a work day at least if you're going to.
And I would be fine to plug a wire to an external computing device on my end when I work at home, and then I can unplug it and I have like 8 hours of batteries or something like that.
Super caps. Don't forget super caps. We're there. We're pretty much there on supercapacitors, which will charge almost instantly and give you. So like, let's imagine that you don't have to get to 8 hours. You get to like 2 hours, and you have to put your glasses down for 30 seconds and pick them back up again. That could happen much sooner,
I don't understand why somebody hasn't come up with sort of the treadmill for the Ray-Ban glasses, right? Because I use my Ray-Ban most of the time. When I use my Ray-Bans, it's to do live stream when I'm hiking, right? I live stream while I'm hiking. And I did that. I was in Banff last weekend, and I had a bunch of people tune in to just me walking up a mountain, right? And I was thinking to myself, I was like, these don't have a big power consumption. Just strap a kinesiology sort of something on some part of my body, and I'll just charge as I go, right? Look, 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes.
So if we go back to the developer business case here, if 4 years from now is kind of roughly the outside timeline on that kind of a device getting mass market. And I guess if we mean the iPhone moment for this, we're now going to be talking about hundreds of millions of units. So does that mean like right now is a good time to start getting your expertise going in VR so that you're ready to start building a product to ship, I don't know, 3 years from now?
I think so. And I think like having a foot in Android XR, and having a foot in Meta ecosystem, and hopefully Apple at some point. I don't know what they're doing now with their glasses, but I think you can start right now, because they have all the MR functionality, so you can prototype these kinds of apps. I just don't think there's a market for these kinds of apps right now.
Not yet.
But you can monetize other ways with social apps in the meantime.
But if you've got somebody that's entering, I mean, they're an established developer, say in Unity. What is the lowest barrier of entry? They should pick up this platform so they can start developing tomorrow, and they can start seeing traction on what they're getting out there. It's like Meta seems to be like where you'd want to, that's the ecosystem you want to like apply your plan first, or
Meta social game. If you want to make money, right now it's Meta social game. Like we are a profitable company with like a free-to-play social game on VR targeting kids. And we have nearly 200,000 monthly active users. Like I think this just shows, and the game shipped like 3 months ago. It's not, and it's not rocket science. Like you saw the trailer for DigiGods. It's like normal game. Like any competent developer can do something like that.
And David, can you comment on like how many people at your studio?
We're 27 now, but like we started working on this game when we were like 15, and we raised $3 million seed round last year.
I should disclose I'm an investor in David's company. It's a very small check in David's company, but
I think you, by the way, you ignite the whole seed round. So
I'll take credit for that. I ignited it. I try to ignite a lot of things, so that's great. But I'm a big proponent of what David's working on. I think he really understands the social dynamic of that. Let's go back to the social ecosystem. What do you think well, actually, let me take a step back. You made an interesting comment earlier where sort of like Gorilla Tag, there's not that much to do.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking, well, when you just have WhatsApp sitting there or any messaging platform, it's like, there's not a lot to do, right?
It's a very good point. It's valid, yeah.
Sort of like a lot of early MMOs were, frankly, like you could kind of hack a few monsters and things, but a lot of the emergent behaviors of MMOs, even going back to early MUDs, multi-user dungeons. So the first game I operated like that wasn't a shareware game, that was more of a commercial game, was technically not a MUD because we built our code base from scratch, but I guess fits into that category. Tremendous amount of what people did was not playing the game, meaning walking around the map, killing monsters to level up XP to get a higher level to kill harder monsters game loop. It was just hanging out
in town,
socializing, romance, like those kind of things.
Even in WoW, like the parties that people are having in WoW, like World of Warcraft, like just chilling in town and chatting with people. It's mostly a social experience.
Like, our kids, alongside with Gorilla Tag and DigiGods and things like that, kids are also doing things like Roblox and stuff. A lot of environments that I think people on the outside of this look at and be like, this just doesn't seem like up to my graphic standards or
gameplay mechanics.
Any of the standards that you'd normally have. And they're like, I don't understand why there's hundreds of millions of monthly active users in a Roblox. Kids don't seem as affected by that. And I know the way my son, for example, plays Roblox, he's always doing something new. They're games that I never would have thought. Like one game he was showing me a couple weeks ago was like a couple guys went and they completely recreated a nuclear reactor in Roblox.
Okay.
And he's like, yeah, it was a couple of nuclear engineers who work on nuclear reactors. They just decided to make a simulation of running nuclear reactors in Roblox, and he really loved it. But he'll just like do that for a bit and be on to the next thing. And it's almost a social experience where he hangs out with other kids and they like move as a group from one thing to the next. So I look at Roblox as a social experience also, not just sort of gameplay components. And they don't see, we talked about this earlier, they don't care as much about the graphics. It seems like the imagination of this generation fills in a lot more of the detail, and it's more the social realities of it.
It's a social reality, but I think you bring an interesting point, which is the short form experience. You play a Roblox game for maybe a couple of days with your friends, and then you move on to the next one and to the next one. To me, this feels a lot like TikTok. You know, TikTok, you swipe short form, like short form. YouTube short form.
Count. Yeah.
So you swipe, you enjoy, like you have a quick dopamine rush. So I think it's the same with social. You're with your friends, but what do you do? Like, what do kids do when they are in person? Like they watch stuff on their phone and they show them each other like short form videos. So it's kind of the same thing, but in a virtual environment, and we just move from one place to the next one. And I don't think they want like the big giant mall. The metaverse that was sold to us was, it's like the real world. Like I will walk with my friend in a virtual mall.
Wants to be in the real world.
No one wants to walk in a real mall. Like
that's what I want to know. If I'm learning one thing here from this conversation today, is that hey, it's really about the kids in the space. Are the kids just there for the new class of games, right? Or are they also doing other things when they're there? Like, are they using it to also watch the movies? Are they going to concerts? Are these kids that are playing this new class of games also doing the other things that are promised about the metaverse, or is it just really about these games? Right. That's I guess that's what I'm asking. Does anybody know, Lucas?
I don't know about the concerts for the kids. What I know for sure is that they create skits, like videos.
Right.
Like when I was a kid, I had a camera and I was filming myself. Yeah. Now they do the TikTok shorts, but like in VR, Liv, we work with Liv, who make like integrated camera inside the game. So in DigiGods and in most of VR games now, there's integrated camera. So every player can just drop out a camera in the game and film themselves, and you can shoot it as a drone that follows you. So it's really easy for them to just record skits, do videos, and create content. So they become like VTubers in VR, but like natural. They just don't think about it. Like they film themselves. So what do you do in Gorilla Tag? Like you said, in WhatsApp, like you just talk, you just hang out, and you film yourself doing so.
But I don't watch much traditional media though. I watch. It's just about the game. These games. I don't go past the games and watch my. I don't watch the new episode of the Marvel movie on my VR in the way that we
I
thought
don't even think kids are watching movies anymore. Like,
that's why I'm not. I don't think so either. That's why I'm asking. It doesn't seem like it.
That is interesting that you say that, because anytime there's a movie that's cool to me on, and I say to my kids, "Hey, that's not true. My kids are very different in this respect. My daughter wants to see new releases in the theater.
okay,
Doesn't ever particularly want to watch a movie on a TV.
No.
My son is basically not interested in movies. Like, I think I've been able to get him to eventually see like a couple of like Marvel movies. But even then, it's like he could take it or leave it. It's sort of like, okay, Dad, I'll do it just to make you feel better, kind of thing. But he doesn't want to watch a movie. Like, he would much rather just play a game the entire time.
Totally.
Or just mess around on Roblox or Minecraft.
Your kids aren't different. Those are exactly how my kids are, and all of their.
The way all the kids are. That's kind of like the point, right?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
but they don't have the attention span.
Mm.
Even myself, I'm
know.
not able to watch a movie anymore. Like, I watch it in 4 parts, like 30 minutes every day for 4 days. It's too long.
You
Like,
say it's attention span, but that same kid who behaves like that will sit down and over a table and play D&D for 6 hours. So I think it's just their expectations for what an experience is, right?
Or they'll
Because
build
my
out a
son
universe
plays
inside of
D&D for
Minecraft.
hours, and will also wants to be a dungeon master now. So, like, again, but is there a social aspect? It's a creative aspect.
interactive, like playing, like you're passive when you watch a movie. Like, so
Yeah, exactly.
And you
Can we
guys,
click on the music aspect, because we've got a real expert in VR music here. Thanks for joining, Lucas. And then I'd love to hear David's sort of reaction to it. But like, I've been very bullish on VR music, immersive like music experience. To me, like it feels like that would be the replacement for even going to a rock concert in the future, because you could be right in there and have experiences that would be so hard to capture in any other way. Like, Lucas, am I too bullish on that category?
you're not too bullish. The thing that's missing is the overall music ecosystem, right? I mean, Meta is essentially funding VR and music right now, and the audience is there. I think David would agree. David's being successful developing things. One thing that I think it's important for people to know is that there are tens of millions of Quest headsets out there. The audience is there. When we've done a total of 3 concerts with Billie Eilish, for instance. The first concert we did was way back when. It was when she was just ascending. She wasn't like a mega star. First concert we did had, I think, like maybe a couple thousand people in headset. Second concert we did had 20,000 people in headset. Third concert we did had more than 50,000 people in headset. Wow. And these are people that are in a VR headset at a specific time,
just to be clear,
specific app,
live,
specific artist, right? That's a significant audience. Now, granted, it's a megastar, right? But still, 50,000 people tuning in anywhere live to see something online is significant. So the audience is there. But what doesn't exist, what's going to make VR, and you guys, I'm a huge fan of VR for the arts, because I think VR is something that the ultimate goal of any artistic expression, I think, is to bring fans, is to bring audience, is to bring the expression of art and the consumption of art closer together, right? To bring fans closer to the things they care about. And VR does that in a really good way. But what doesn't exist in the VR world, and what's going to make it really hard for anybody other than stars to make money and do stuff, is the ecosystem of clubs, bookers, how music happens in the real world. There is not a CBGB of the metaverse yet. There's not a Whiskey a Go-Go. There's not a Roxy of the metaverse yet. There's not a place that you go to on a Friday night to go see a show that you're guaranteed it's going to be a certain quality of show, a certain quality of artist, and it's going to be a good experience. I'm assuming we all grew up knowing that if we go to this place on this time at this night, it'll be a pretty cool experience. That doesn't exist in the metaverse yet. I think it will. I think it's going to, but there's no such thing as a booker right now that is out there going, okay, for my band, I want them to play, that club headlining on a Friday night, and then they're going to go into Roblox on Saturday, and they're going to go into venues on Sunday. Until that ecosystem exists, it's going to be very difficult for me. And I want it to happen. I really want it to happen. I'm also a realist, though. It's just going to be difficult for the music world to truly expand into the metaverse and expand into these online locations unless you have the business ecosystem behind it that's helping artists get there. All the artists that are on Decentraland and are doing, various metaverse concerts in various places right now are doing it for free because they believe in the ecosystem, and doing things for free is not a way to put food on the table if you're going to be a working artist. So
yeah,
I think
Snoop Dogg does a lot of those. I suspect it's not for free though. I think
Apple just released the Metallica concert for the Vision Pro, and I know the team that shot that concert, and it was, as you can imagine, not an inexpensive experience to produce. And Apple did it. They're not charging for it, so the tech companies are funding the music world.
So you're saying I can see a Metallica concert on my Apple Vision Pro? I've got a reason.
It was released a couple of days ago. It's a badass experience. I think Apple. I think they missed the boat in one sense, in that it is a phenomenal experience. It's well shot. It's well done. It's a great concert experience, but it is a video experience, right? And it's going to, and you're in this wonderful interactive device, and there's no interactive things to do in that experience. It's still Metallica. I mean, it's still cool, right? But I think it's a miss if you're gonna spend that much money to do something like that, and you're gonna put it in this wonderful interactive platform and not do anything interactive.
David, I'm struck that the music use case though returns to some of the social stuff we were talking about, because a concert experience isn't just you're there to consume. You frequently go to concerts to have a social experience with your friends and be part of the crowd. Like when I went to the Sphere in Las Vegas.
That's why venues is so powerful. That's why Meta's venues and Horizon World is so powerful, because you're with people experiencing something together.
When I went to the Sphere in Las Vegas, the experience I had was, wow, this is cool. I don't think it's actually better than VR in terms of what I experience, other than that there's all these people around me, and that's amazing that we're all experiencing this VR thing concurrently and kind of becoming one with the experience. Anyway, what's your thoughts on the social aspect of this?
I'm far from an expert in the music industry and VR, but I would like maybe more a question for Lucas, filming a live show and watching it in 3D is not social, but I think like what you're talking about, Lucas, like a venue in Meta Horizon, or like what Fortnite did, like the show within Fortnite, where you were with like 100 other players like dancing and jumping while like there was a giant like Snoop Dogg whatever in 3D. This is a social experience, and I think this looks more like this for me, the future of.
I mean, for Gorilla Tag, for any game in VR, I think it would benefit, because I'm the big expert in gaming development. I'm not, David, by the way. I think any VR game though would benefit from having the thing that you have in venues, which is the ability to step out of the game and go to a stage where you're watching the game. It's like Insta Twitch in VR, right? Yeah. Because that combines in one captured experience, that combines playing the game and observing the game, and both are valid social experiences.
All right, I want to ask everybody for maybe some closing thoughts soon, because we're coming up to the top of our hour, but I'm just going to share a little bit of an update on some of the things that are coming down the pipe. So we're going to take a brief break. What, about a half hour, Oscar, after the end of this? Is that the timing? And then we're going to be back on live again, but we're going to be talking about Wolves Den. So I'm at this location in GDC here in San Francisco. You can see the bay right behind us. And I'm going to be talking with Sam Stefanina, who is one of the founders of Wolves DAO, which is DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization. So it's Web3 way to have like a social club or a group or shareholder group. There's all kinds of ways you can do that. And they've made one around gaming and sort of
you're going to say
NFT games and yeah. So
you're going to say NFT, aren't you?
there's going to be NFTs are potentially part of that conversation for sure. Yeah, we will go all in on Web3 on that next talk coming up, but we're going to talk about Wolf's Den and Wolf's DAO and Sam and what he's doing. He's actually a very prolific YouTuber before he pivoted to this with one of the most popular YouTube channels with billions of views for like dancing videos. Then he decided, hey, let's return to his true love of gaming and talk about that instead. But I will tell you the quick preview of that. There's actually games in Web3 now with really solid production values. So that wasn't the case 1 or 2 years ago. So there's interesting things there. Like I actually want people to maybe check out some of these things. So I'll talk to Sam about that and the work happening there with Wolf's Den. But as we come to the end of this hour, and thanks, David, for participating in this, we talked a little bit about, from a developer standpoint, like now is actually a decent time to ship a product. You can ship a game where you have a decent revenue opportunity. You can be a profitable studio, and we might be on the cusp of 3 or 4 years from now, true mass market acceptance of the technology, because the hardware is going to become a lot more ergonomic. Anything else you want to double down on, add to that?
No, I think you wrapped it very well. Thanks for the invitation. And if you want to reach out, have like one-on-one conversation, feel free to reach out to me. And
how did they get in touch with you, David?
Just poke me on LinkedIn. I think is the best way. David Chartrand, LinkedIn. Squido. I'm CEO of Squido, so just reach me there, or go play DigiGods. Maybe you'll see me, and we can fight together in VR.
Thanks, Lucas. What do you want to add to the VR conversation we just had?
I appreciate you guys inviting me up. David, what's your website, and where do I go get your game?
It's you just type DigiGods on Google. It's the first link, as you'll find the website, the meta link to the store page. So DigiGods with the S. That's it.
Cool. Well, very nice to meet you, and John and Paul and Oscar, thanks for having me up. Paul, take us home. Close it out. What do you want to say?
Hey, this was a great conversation, great venue, great guests. Really appreciate everybody participating. I learned a lot about kind of refactored kind of who is actually using these things, because I'm super enthusiastic about this topic, but I sometimes feel like I'm missing out on where the fun is. And so David has really helped Sherpa me back toward how to think about that. So thanks for that.
One last thing real quick. Don't sleep on older folk. Don't sleep on folks with gray hair in VR as well. The biggest VR consumer in my household, and I'm a VR professional, biggest VR consumer in my house is my wife. Awesome. I never, ever would have predicted that. She's not a geek. She's not in our world, right? She's the biggest VR consumer. And my mom and several folks in the generation of my mom and my in-laws are big VR consumers, because it lets them have experiences to travel. And for them, it's magic. So don't sleep on that either.
I won't.
So
I'm going to watch
people, not just no grognards from gaming.
Yeah. I'm going to go watch a Metallica concert after this, so it'll be great.
Awesome. Okay, thanks everybody for joining us yet again. Like I said, we're going to return in about a half hour to talk about Web3. It's a special episode. We don't normally run at this time, but hey, we're here at GDC and we had an opportunity to do this live and on site. I want to encourage everybody to come back, and we've got a tremendous live audience here right now. Thank you so much for joining us. Come back soon, and also come back next week. We do this at 9 a.m. Eastern time for the Web3 talk, and then 1 p.m. Eastern time on Thursdays for the general game development, where we talk about, the 99.9% of the industry that still remains what they would call Web 2 here in Wolf's DAO. None of us, no other people call it Web 2, by the way. But that's the way it's perceived here. Thanks everybody for being part of this. Oscar, you're in command.